Hello, welcome to Hayridge Model Rail. Today there's going to be a bit more work on the viaduct and a few changes to the layout. Things that have happened and things that need to happen. Hello and welcome back to Hayridge Model Rail. Today I'm doing some more work on the viaduct and I'm building some risers to go underneath the plinths to complete the base of the viaduct, to raise it up enough so that I can run the track across the top. So I've been busy with the crick-up machine making up these riser blocks, which are 3mm thick. There we go, 3mm thick. 3 pieces of 1mm grey board glued together. I worked out the dimensions from measuring the base of the viaduct. I also put these spacer blocks in just to stretch the arches back to make them a little bit squarer, and then measured up all the relevant parts, and I've made up a cutting list for the crick-up machine and let it work its magic, because I think if I'd been cutting these by hand I'd probably still be doing them now. But that's the extra 3mm plus the board on top should give me enough clearance so that I can run the track and the cork straight over the top of this. It's pretty solid, so I'm happy with that idea. So now that I've got these glued together, I'm wrapping them in brick paper to give me a nice finish. So that's my job at the moment. It's been quite fiddly just to wrap the edges in brick paper, but I'm happy enough with these. I don't think you're really going to get close enough to see the fine details, but this will pack out the viaduct at the bottom. Once it's installed I'll blend it in just to make it less noticeable, but I don't think that's a bad match. Once it's all glued together, that'll just raise it up that little bit more. And yeah, happy with that. So I'll carry on. Got one more of these big sections to do, and then I've got 4 more little ones. So I'll check back in with you when they're done. So I've been busy wrapping the new base layers for the viaduct with brick paper. Quite time consuming, but I've got there. So the next job now is to fix them to the bottom of the viaduct to raise it up. So it's time to move on with that. So I've turned the viaduct over. This is where I'm going to add the sections that I've made. I've already put in some sections just to try and ease out the arches. So I'm going to glue these on here and they will make a little plinth, and they'll be tidied up, hopefully hardly noticeable once they're in place. and there'll be one on each one of these. So I'll get some glued in place and I'll show you how they're looking. Right, I've got 3 glued on and got a little bit of a raise, but I think, yep, I think working with that we can make that work. And by the time the glue's dried from a distance, a little bit of touching up, a bit of weathering, I think they'll be all right. I think they'll look quite nice. And that's going to raise the viaduct up to a point where I will only need to put cork on it rather than apply base. So that will keep the track nicely up in line. So I'm happy with how that's going to go. It's quite a sturdy viaduct, you know, it's quite strong. So yeah, always looking good with that. One thing I will say, that with the crick up machine, if you get your measurements right and you've got a nice sharp blade, it can cut some very, very intricate patterns. And also you need something to match up to what's already there. It can do a pretty good job. Like I say, this would have taken me absolutely ages to cut, but the crick up machine has done all the work for me, and I'm pleased with how that's looking. So we're going to turn it over and we'll have a look at it up the right way round. And there we are in place, and I think from this distance you can't really tell that anything's been added. It's not too bad at all. A little bit of weathering and a bit of blending in some bushes and some scenery around the edges, and I think that's going to look pretty good. So as you can see, I've got it raised up just enough now so that the ply, our little ply section, can go across there, and that will join up to the viaduct, and all I need is a cork track bed to go across the viaduct. And I am really pleased with how the viaduct's coming along now. So next will be putting the walls on, of which there are many, and most of them still to be cut. So I've got the side walls on above the arches now. I'm just gluing the approach walls together, back to back, see in front there, and then they'll be covered with a brick layer and attached. I need to trim down the overhang on this side, which is my next job while I wait for the glue on them to dry. And that'll be done. But yeah, I've also got the ledge capping to put on underneath, which I haven't done yet. But yeah, it's coming together really nicely. I like the look of it. It's going to look quite imposing at the back of the layout when we get it on. All the walls are now in place. I'm going to do the ledges next. I've got a bit of cork underneath there, which I'm trying to flatten out, just to make it easier to lay. I'm also flattening a bit of cork underneath my cutting mat to make that easier to cut. Once I've got it flat, or reasonably flat, so it's easier to work with, I will lay that on top of the base layer in there for the track bed, give it a coat of paint, and yeah, coming together really nicely now. And we have the parapet refuge areas glued in now, so somewhere for the workers to go when a train passes. The ledges still to make up, but once the ledges are done, that should be complete. So we'll be able to get it back onto the layout and see how it looks. So here we have the finished viaduct. Last couple of things to do are install the cork for the track bed, and then obviously paint the cork up. That'll be the next job. So we'll move it across and put it in place and see what it looks like on the layout. Right, so on the layout now, and we have a 6-arch viaduct that runs along the back edge. I'm really pleased with how it's come out, so we'll get that connected up, lay the track round, and that moves us a little further on. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there are a few changes that will be coming about over the next few years. The main one is at some point we will be moving to a bigger house, which means that this layout will have to come up, and that means I need to work out a way of being able to take this apart. So my plan is, if it works, to try and shrink this part of the layout down to 2, possibly 1 board. I think 1 board might be pushing it now I'm looking at it. So yeah, we might be doing a few changes here to try and save a loop, and obviously working on the joins where they all are. So I've got obviously some work to do on this baseboard join. While we're still in this house, I will be working on this top section and working across this side, but I won't be going any further along the other side that I've just shown you. That also means that the wiring will be reworked, try and make it as simple as possible so that I can easily take the boards apart. Obviously this retaining wall is going to have to be split, so that's something else that I've got to try and work on and try and keep it as neat as possible. Obviously then there's the joins between the baseboards, which at the moment is just this one here. The tracks, hopefully, especially at the back, they look like they're going to be simple enough to do, but I will be trying to get them in place before I do anything else, so that that's easily removable. Whether or not this layout will be able to go back up as it stands in the new house when we get it remains to be seen. Obviously it depends on what the loft is like, or other buildings that might be available. But I'm not going to stop what I'm doing, because the hobby is my time to unwind, and I really do enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to, believe it or not, sorting out the wiring and the electrics. Be something that I can, work on and simplify, just to make it a bit easier for now. But yeah, that's the future of Hayridge for the moment. Yeah, it's going to make basically making it into a portable modular layout that it's going to be easy to remove at some point in the future. So I look forward to sharing those little bits of progress as they come about.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.